Apple just released the new iPhone 13 lineup, and the new iPhone 13 Pro with its cinematic mode and macro features will swoop you off your feet. So strap in, cause I will tell you everything there is to know about the new camera features. What up guys, welcome back to our episode. My name is Eddie Bear, and yes, Apple's iPhone 13 Pro release at a first glance does not look like there was much of an improvement. It comes in a small box like its predecessor, it once again has no charging brick, and you only get a USB-C to Lightning cable. When you compared the iPhone 13 Pro to the 12 Pro, the body dimensions stayed the same, but the SIM card tray and every button received a minor realignment. However, most noticeably, the dimensions of the camera module have been increased significantly. Not only are the lenses bigger, but they also stand out more than on the 12 Pro. And this leads us to today's topic. I'm going to show you what you can expect from the new iPhone 13 Pro cameras. I will cover photography and videography aspects alike, and I give you an in-depth review of the highly anticipated cinematic mode. Oh, and before I forget, I want to thank today's sponsor GoDeal24, which is your source for genuine affordable online CD keys, but more about them later. And with that said, since iPhones are famous for taking unbelievably good photos in smartphone terms, let's kick off today's review with what's improved on the photos front. In general, you can say that the iPhone 13 Pro takes gorgeous photos. You know the 0.5 times zoom and the 1 time zoom, but the moment you go telephoto on the iPhone 13, you get 3 times zoom, which is 1 times more than you know from the 12 Pro. This helps you to get even closer to your subject without getting annoying digital noise in your photos. Another super cool new feature is the ability to take macro photos. And since it's so addictive to check out everyday mundane objects with a macro lens, I'm almost certain Instagram will be flooded with macro photography in the next few weeks. The macro mode on the iPhone 13 Pro essentially works like this. If you get close enough to an object, the camera will automatically switch to the ultra-wide sensor. Unfortunately, you don't get any kind of information that you are in it, even though you still have the option to choose between the ultra-wide, the 1 time and the 3 time zoom. These are still just digital zooms. Even though Apple significantly improved on the low light performance of the ultra-wide lens, this macro feature will work best in well-lit environments. The moment you step into a darker room or an area, it will have a hard time focusing and you will get a lot of noise in your photo. But as long as you stick to bright scenes, the magnification is incredible. To have something like this on a smartphone blows my mind. And to be honest, some areas can gross you out, so I'm recommending you not to check everything in your household with the macro feature. Oh, and by the way, we now also have macro video on the iPhone 13 Pro. Here's a comparison what did happen if you were zooming in with an iPhone 12 Pro with its ultra-wide lens. As you can see, nothing did happen, it never got focus. Same scene with an iPhone 13 Pro. In order for this to work, you need to switch into ultra-wide before starting to record the video. Unlike in photo mode, the iPhone 13 is not automatically switching to the ultra-wide lens when you're getting close enough to a subject. In general, a good rule of thumb is that you can place about 2 centimeters of space between the ultra-wide lens and your subject in order for it to focus. And this brings us to today's sponsor, GoDeal24. GoDeal24 is your source for legit, official and affordable serial numbers for software and games. GoDeal24's team has been engaged in e-commerce for over 10 years now and not only offer you 24/7 support, instant key delivery, but also 100% money back guarantee if you ever should experience any kind of trouble with your key. Right now they are offering customers who did not upgrade to Windows 10 yet an additional 30% off their regular Windows 10 licenses. So if you're still on Windows 7, 8 or 8.1, don't hesitate and grab your 30% extra with the code KPA30, and I'm going to link their store in the description. Thank you GoDeal24 for being today's sponsor. Now let's focus on the most talked about feature yet, cinematic mode. Let me start this by saying that the video quality of the iPhone 13 Pro is so good that I can see a bunch of freelancers starting paid work just with the help of an iPhone. The moment you pair this video performance with cinematic mode, the results are mind-blowing. I'm genuinely impressed how good this footage looks. However, the software is not without its limitations. You can see that the fake bokeh falls apart when you have finicky details, but that really is nitpicking. Most people wouldn't even notice. And just so you know, there is a catch with cinematic mode. Apple did not advertise that on stage, but it only records in full HD and 30 frames. Unfortunately, there is also no option to adjust the recording settings, for example, for 25 frames. However, the footage you get out of cinematic mode is so incredibly good that I would prefer this kind of full HD footage over every kind of cheap low bitrate 4K footage, for example, you get out of action cameras or cheap smartphones. I have a theory, but I'm not sure if I'm right about this. Take a good look at this footage and how it vibrates as I'm riding my bike. We do know that the iPhone 13 Pro has image stabilization in its main camera, but this is filmed with its selfie camera. Now take a good look what happens if I turn on cinematic mode on the selfie camera. I have the feeling that some kind of image stabilization is applied when you activate cinematic mode. Not only does the footage look way better through the depth of field in the background, but there is also less vibration compared to the other footage. Now here's a side-by-side look of the two footages. What is your opinion? Is there some kind of image stabilization or am I imagining this? Let me know in the comments below. By the way, in the selfie camera there is no resolution difference, both are full HD. Another thing I noticed that there is some kind of crop happening between 4K and full HD recordings. This means if you record in cinematic mode or full HD, the same lens will have a narrower field of view than if you record in 4K. Now let's talk about the limitations of cinematic mode. While the depth of field rendering around people works surprisingly well, the shifting focus while looking away from the camera somehow for me never worked. So in order for me to shift the focus, I always have to tap on subjects, and once again surprisingly, the iPhone does a great job recognizing possible subjects. But the moment there's too much action happening in the shot, cinematic mode becomes useless. It is all over the place and has no idea what to focus on or what to track. And even if you're using AF lock, it will lose the focus once there is more movement within the scene. Essentially, this also means that cinematic mode is mainly only usable in a controlled environment. The moment you have a crowd of people or a lot of moving subjects, it will not work properly. Depending on the scene, I also noticed that Apple has some homework to do cause the depth of field is not always applied properly. You can see here that the leaves are blurred out and the background at some point is blurry, but the moment it has a hard time acquiring the subject, it doesn't know what to put in focus and what to blur out, so the background is fully sharp when it should be, with a regular DSLR, be out of focus. And this is where the insane part comes in, cause in the iPhone 13 Pro, if you select edit, you can in post adjust your aperture for a video. This is something you can definitely not do on a traditional camera. And on top of that, the results are actually mind-blowing. And to put it in Apple terms, there is one more thing. You can define manual focus points, which are pointed out with those little yellow dots on the bottom, so you can focus shift in post to certain objects that the camera was not able to track in the first place, and just select them by hand and they will be tracked automatically as they walk through the picture. Come on, you gotta admit that's impressive. I know Apple didn't change much design-wise and some of you were expecting more than just a camera tweak. But as a video content creator, the iPhone 13 Pro is really a big deal. I did say it before and I will say it again, in certain areas the smartphone will be the death of traditional cameras. Through computational photography, people no longer are held back by the lack of knowledge, because they don't have to learn the physics behind cameras. They just can go out and do what they do best, and that's being creative. So with that said, what do you think about the new iPhone 13 Pro? What is your favorite new feature? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked today's episode, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a minute.